The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some OPTAVIA coaches or clients of OPTAVIA. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the OPTAVIA team.
All right, everybody. Well, welcome to this week's Habits of Health webinar. My name is Craig Blanchette, and I'm excited to share this topic tonight. The topic is called longevity, and it's where the rubber meets the road. And I came up with this topic through one of the neat things about being part of OPTAVIA is not only am I a client, which means I have a coach, but I also am a coach, and by choice. And so one of the neat things about being a coach and being coached is you get to constantly work on your own healthy habits, and you get to constantly work on your own process. I've been coaching now in May, it'll be 9 years. And so I've learned a lot just from talking to people and watching what they do, and then analyzing my own behaviors. And so where the rubber meets the road is really what we're talking about today. And so here's a little bit about my story. You can see that's me on the left and the right. What's another interesting thing about those two photos is the live picture of me talking to you right now is also my my after photo, right? So I lost 50 pounds. It's coming up on 9 years. This is a fun little picture. I have these two girls, and they're looking down at the scale. Try again without the socks. And it's just kind of this whole idea that we get hung up on what our body weighs oftentimes, and I think that it's important that we pay attention to how much we weigh, but we don't pay too much attention or too little attention. We want to pay the right amount of attention on what it is when we're actually looking at the scale. I don't know if you guys have thought about this or not, but quite frankly, the scale is just a measurement of how much gravity is affecting your body on planet Earth. If we all went to the moon, we'd weigh less, but we'd still have the same value. So our weight doesn't equate to our value. Our weight is just our weight. So I just wanted to talk about that up front. So we're talking about a lot about weight tonight, and weight is not equal to value. You actually can't have more value. You're already priceless. All right. So with a little poll here, I want to start off with, if you are someone who is at your goal or within 10 pounds of your goal, put a 1 in the chat. Excellent. So you have quite a few people that are joining us that are 1, 2. If you're still on your way, got a lot of 2s, a lot of 1s, and 3, you got there, but you're now gaining more than 10 pounds. And so I don't see too many 3s, a couple 3s here and there. So for all of you guys, I think this is going to hopefully be helpful. Boy, the chat's just blowing up. 3 2s and 1s all over the place. And so these are the kind of 3 areas that I have seen people that I work with is you're able to stay there. Very few people are able to stay at 1. And so that's what the call tonight is about. Still on your way? Oh, that makes sense. There's a lot of us on our way. And some of us have got there or got close, and then stuff kind of started slipping around, and you didn't stay there, and you're gaining, and you've got 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, and you're just not sure. So this is what this call is going to be for you guys tonight. The word longevity, I looked it up, and longevity actually stands for long life. And I don't know about you guys, but most people want to have a long life, and they want that long life to actually be one that is healthy. A long life, we don't want a long life of sickness. Nobody wants that. We want a long life of wellness, of more yes days. We wake up in the morning and we ask our body, can I do this today? And our body says yes, right? Then we have to look at our calendar and we say, does my calendar say yes, right? We look at these different things, and when we want to go navigate through our life, and we want longevity. We want a long life of more and more yes days. And so, so here's a strategy that I have found, and here's kind of how it works. All right. So first of all, we need to find what we call your healthy low set point, and then your healthy high set point. All right. And what I mean by that is you have to figure out there's three things or four things here. You've got the BMI of 25 or less. Some people say, well, I'm gonna lose some weight, and maybe they're still 50 pounds outside of the green zone, right? And so it's healthier than you used to be, but it may not be healthy, right? So when I'm talking about your set point, is it should be in the green zone, I recommend. And not the green zone for my personal opinion. The green zone means you have the lowest risk of contracting a disease or having a life event that will alter the quality of your life forever. You get a heart attack, it's better just to avoid the heart attack than to survive it. All right. So getting to a BMI of 25 or less puts you in the lowest risk of those kinds of things. I don't know about you, but I want to be in the lowest risk of those kinds of things. A waist circumference. For men, it's less than 32 inches, or women, it's 29 inches. So you actually measure around your waist, right? And then the third one that I think is important is how you look and feel. Because once you get below those zones, that's the top of the green zone. But you may not look like how you look or like how things feel, or maybe you're doing some type of sporting activity and you want to dive down maybe an extra 10 pounds to be more agile and fit. All right. So these are a couple things to think about. BMI of 25 or less, waist circumference for men and women, and then how you look and feel. And that's finding your healthy set point, right, for low end. So this little graph here, I call it the 10-pound window. And what I mean by the 10-pound window is you got your low set point. You could go lower than that, but it's harder to stay there. So whatever is your low set point. For me, I don't have legs. I don't have hair or legs. Isn't that funny? It's not funny at all, but it's kind of funny. And so because I'm I don't have legs, my set point on the low end, and the reason why I tell you that is because legs weigh a lot. So my slow set point is 130 pounds. All right. My high set point then would be 140 pounds. So I have this little zone. It's called the habits of health zone. And I just sort of made that up, but it's the zone that you stay in. I don't really need to go below 130 unless I was going to a race or going to do something where being fine-tuning it maybe to 127, 126 might be advantageous for me. But normally I stay 130 to 140, right? And so I have my two set points there. And I got my habits of health zone. So here's what my point is, is that sometimes what I will have done is I will tell myself, well, I'm going to work it out. I just got to suck it up. I just got to practice my healthy habits. I just got to get back in my groove. Right. And now I'm at 133, 134. And I'm like, okay, I'm 135. Okay. I'm right in the middle of my healthy zone. I got to start tightening things down. I got to actually, get a good handle on things. Now I'm up to 138, 139, right? And now I hit 140 and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do this. Well, what I've done is I've made a contract with myself that once I get outside my high set point, I'm not doing it. Sometimes I've heard clients say, hey, I'm doing really well. I'm maintaining. And I'm like, great, you're maintaining. And then after we talk for a few minutes, like, I'm only up 8 pounds. And I think, what does maintaining mean to you? Because I know what that word means by definition. And if you're up 8 pounds, you're not maintaining unless maybe you have this 10-pound window, right? And so what I want to help prevent you from doing is saying, oh, I'm going to get back to it. I'm going to get back to it. And there's a couple things that will happen with people. They get breakfast. Almost everybody nails breakfast. Maybe your second fueling, you nail it. Lunchtime, you are golden, right? It doesn't, somewhere between 6 and 8, the wheels come off, right? And then you're like, crap, okay, reset and we'll do it again tomorrow. And so, and then you get out, breakfast, you're killing it. And every evening you are beating yourself up because you just didn't figure it out. Or maybe you go through Monday through Friday and you're good. The weekend comes, oh my goodness, no structure. I'm outside of my work environment. And so I have my weekend routine, and then I suck it up and get back into fat burn. By Thursday, have one day in fat burn. And then Saturday, boom, I take myself out of fat burn. Sunday's a crazy day. Monday, we get back in and we do it again, right? I know a lot of you are nodding your head right now because you're like, wait a minute, this is my life, right? So what we want to figure out is how to give yourself a window to be able to practice the things we call habits of health and maintaining your healthy weight. That's a macro habit. And it's got hundreds of micro habits that need to be installed in order to support a healthy weight for the rest of your life. Maybe you guys can say this with me, right? A healthy weight for the rest of my life, not for a few months, not for even a year, the rest of your life. I'm playing for keeps here, folks. I really mean this. So this 10-pound window has helped me to stay. I've never been more than 11 pounds over my healthy weight. So at 141, 5-in-1 reset, right? And what's that mean? That means I tell my coach, okay, I'm at 141. We push the do-over button because my habits of health are clearly, by empirical evidence, they're not cutting it. I just don't have enough healthy habits, stop, challenge, choose. I just don't have it all together yet. So instead of playing around with my habits while I continue to gain weight, I reset 5-in-1. And my reset, as you notice this red line, it goes all the way to the low set point. I don't stop at 135. I don't stop at 132. I don't stop at 138. When I feel a little bit better, I reset to 130. And then I get a do-over. Then I'm back in my healthy habits. I'm practicing my breakfast every day. I'm eating every 3 hours. I'm drinking my water. I'm working on my sleep. I'm eating low glycemic. I'm being intentional with my stop, challenge, choose. And the weight gets up to 135. I'm in my zone, right? I'm doing okay. Actually, 139, I'm still in my zone. What this has done for me is it's helped me to not abuse the 5-in-1. Sometimes you're up 6 pounds and you just reset on the 5-in-1, but you're not actually establishing healthy habits being installed in your life. You just pull out the parachute, the 5-in-1 reset all the time, and you're constantly on off. All you're doing is just taking that cycle, the yo-yo cycle, and just maybe you're 2 weeks on program, 1 week off program, 2 weeks on program, on 5-in-1, 1 week off 5-in-1. And you're not actually practicing or helping those habits of health to be installed. You know, what's it like not to be gaining or losing, but to be staying in a zone? That's what we're talking about here. So we talked a little bit about 5-in-1 abuse. Now, what does that mean? Well, I have some folks that they get to a healthy range, and some of my clients will say, well, I want my habits of health zone to just be 5 pounds. And I'm thinking, hold on a second here. It's 3 to 4 pounds is the stored sugar, the stored glycogen in your body. So you get into fat burn, 3 to 4 pounds always has to come off first before you can actually get into your fat stores. So if you're working with a 5-pound window, just getting out of fat burn, you're going to gain 3 to 4 pounds. just of that stored glycogen in your body. It's stored in your muscles and your liver, mostly in your muscles. So if you have a lot of muscles, you're going to be storing more. So you could be going in and out of fat burn, but you're not actually burning any fat. All you're doing is depleting your muscles of glycogen and your liver, and then you're just filling them up, depleting them and filling them up if you're staying within that 4-pound range. So that's why you need to expand that to 10 pounds, right? Because if you've gained a full 10 pounds, that's more than glycogen. And then you get back into fat burn and you stay to your low set point rather than just taking off. Let's just say you get to your high point, 140, and then you at 135, you go off the 5 and 1. Well, all you're doing is just filling and emptying your liver. It's hard on your liver. Not good for you. So 10 pounds gives you some time for you to say, are my habits strong enough? Do I have enough of them? Do I have the right tools? And do I have the skills to use them? And if you don't, you'll be constantly popping back on the 5 and 1. Now, the 5 and 1 is really good. It teaches you to have breakfast every day. It teaches you to drink water. It teaches you a bunch of important stuff. Teaches you what a lean and green is, right? But the 5 and 1 is a specific way to eat to lose fat. It's not intended to be forever, right? But we abuse the 5 and 1 all the time by going back on and off it, don't we? All right. So next up, let's see here. Look at that. Are we actually having a technical failure? Well, maybe we are. So I'm just going to stop my sharing and go straight to my, just work off my notes because I'm pretty sure I know what we're talking about. So we talk about the value of the 5 and 1 reset. And I want to make sure that you understand that you need to work with your coach on this. If you're the only one that knows about your set points, then you'll have to question a little bit of that. Like maybe, well, I'll go back on at 145, right? So talk to your coach about what your zone, your habits of health zone is. And then when you hit above it, you just put on your big boy pants or your big girl pants, right? And you just say, okay, we're going back on the 5 and 1 with intention, and we're going to lose our weight. And then we're going to reestablish our habits of health and find what's missing. And so as you work with your coach is going to be talking to you while you're losing your weight. And hopefully you'll be talking to your coach while you're gaining your weight. And if you're staying in your habits of health, you're making little changes, little tweaks. We're adding some of this in, we're adding some of that in, doing some strength training. We're working on our sleep, working on our breathing, so we don't have those cortisol things. We're doing all these little things. And then, but if we get to our top zone, then we talk to our coach and we figure out, okay, what was missing? Because something is missing, because it is possible. Say this with me. It is possible to maintain a healthy weight. I know that might be crazy. You might think, what? Because you only know how to lose it or gain it. I'm telling you, it's possible. You can do this, right? So work with your coach. And here's one thing that I've noticed for my own life is I've noticed that my resets take longer. So when I was in the first few years, I was resetting maybe 6 months, maybe 7 months. All right. And then it got to a year, right? If you can get beyond a year, think about the power of that. You've gone through Christmas. You've gone through Thanksgiving. You've gone through weddings. You've gone through Valentine's Day. You've had your anniversary. You've had your birthday. If you've gone through an entire year staying within your habits of health zone, think of that. Think of how powerful that is. The only thing now, you still need to be watching yourself because you'll have about every 2 to 5 years, you'll have a life crisis that will come up. Maybe there's a death in the family. Maybe there's something happens with your job. Maybe you break your ankle, or I don't know what happens, but there's just something that's not on the normal calendar. And so then you have to see how are my habits able to address that life event that comes along. So if you've kept your weight off for 5 years, I'm telling you, way to go. You guys are killing it. And you can do that with the work of your coach, with all these little details. You'll figure out how to maintain your weight. If you can maintain your weight without the 5 and 1 for 2 to 5 years, I'm telling you what, you're there. You're there in that area, right? You've got a lot of micro habits and they are installed. I hope you become a coach, because you would be fantastic at paying that forward. And I don't know about this, but if you figure out how many people in America are overweight and how many coaches we have, each coach has to coach around 30,000 people. We ain't got enough coaches. So if you thought about partnering up and being able to help somebody along while you're figuring it out, I'm going to tell you that's a quality decision right there. Now, one of the things that I've done is this idea of long-term fuelings. What would it look like for me to actually be able to utilize the fuelings in a like a long-term strategy for keeping my weight off? Okay. And so what I've done is there's a couple things. Initially, I had some concepts about the 5 and 1 and about the fuelings. Those were, after all, diet food. Those were for weight loss. And then I thought to myself, when I take those out of my strategy, I add a lot of complexity. And I don't know about you, but I like simple. I like healthy and I like simple, right? So the fuelings allow me to get really good nutrition, really good protein, carbs, and fats, really tasty, and super convenient. So those are some of the things that are important to me. So I have about 4 of those a day. Then I do 2 lean and green styles, and then I'll usually do a piece of fruit. That's been my rhythm. That's the most simple way that I've done. And then I work on that 10-pound goal. And so anyway, couple other things here. My PowerPoint's back up. I love it. So let's talk about some things to add into your long-term strategy. One of the things that you want to do is you want to add in strength training. Strength training also works your cardiovascular system. Some people think it's either cardio or it's weights. Well, weights do cardio, believe it or not. When you're lifting weights, they're connected. It's the cardiovascular system, and it's also connected to the musculoskeletal system. So they are actually connected. So as you're lifting weights, you're working both. When you gain strength, it's super important, because the stronger you are, as you get stronger, life becomes different. My wife, we have a granddaughter. Her name is Scout. And my wife, she's a granny, right? Awesome. And Scout's growing. Well, my wife is also doing strength training. And so as Scout grows, she's able to throw her around. She's able to move her around. She's able to put her in and out of the car. She's able to do the things that life requires. And when you're stronger, life is better. So strength training is key. I would recommend doing strength training for the rest of your life. Super important. Another one I talked about is sleep. And this is a beautiful little picture of this beautiful girl sleeping. I don't know about you, but there's a guy, his name's Matthew Walker, and he wrote a book called Why We Sleep. And the science is settled. 7 hours is the minimum. If you get less than 7 hours, and you're like, there's only like, what, 0.1% of people that can actually be healthy on less. So let's just assume that's not you, and you need to work your way up to 7 hours minimum, 9 hours maximum. So you got that window. So that's another component. And then we talk about calibrating. All right. So these are some questions that you're going to have to start when you know you can't just jump back on the 5 and 1 whenever you want to. Then you have to ask yourself some new questions. If I eat this pizza, or if I eat this ice cream, or whatever it is, and it takes me 3 weeks to get the 5 or 10 pounds or 8 pounds off, is it worth it? And that's a really good question. I know some people that gain weight very quickly, and it takes them like 3 to 4 days, they can put on a lot of weight, 8, 9 pounds. And it takes them about 6 weeks to pull it off again. And so the reality for those types of people is pizza just doesn't make sense. I mean, you have to decide yourself. Does pizza make sense? Or does ice cream make sense? Or whatever the thing that causes you to gain weight. You just have to ask yourself, is that going to be part of my long-term strategy? Is it worth it? Right? And then work with your coach. I love this photo here. The coach is out there looking the kids straight in the eyes and it's talking to them. Here's what's going on. Here's where you're at. Giving an outside perspective. Helping a coach helps us see things that we can't see because we're busy living our life and they're on the outside observing it. So they see things that we can't see. And so make sure that you work with your coach, right? And lastly, we just want to talk about self-management skills. Dr. A says, one of his quotes is the reason why we're in such bad healthy shape, that's financially, relationally, and emotionally, as well as physically, is because of one thing: emotional mismanagement. When we mismanage our emotions, we don't know what to do with them, right? And so usually food is a really good answer for any question. If you're happy, food's a good answer. If you're sad, food's a good answer. If you're bored, food is a great answer, right? If you're on vacation, on a cruise ship maybe, food is a good answer, right? Food seems to be an answer for every question. And so if you think about that, is if you're able to manage your emotions, good ones, bad ones, lonely ones, bored ones, you're able to manage those emotions without food, calorie-free, your life looks different. And it's good. So learning how to use a simple tool called Stop, Challenge, Choose will help you with becoming aware of what you're feeling and then be able to choose what you want regardless of your feelings. And those are the people that make this stick and stay with their habits of health zone, right? Long term. And that you give yourself a window of opportunity for you to be able to work it out. And then a hard cutoff that says, it's just not happening. We got to do a reset and try again. And it'll help you to work on those habits and hopefully be able to build enough of those habits where you're not resetting very often. So thank you for your time. It has been an honor to talk with you guys tonight, and I hope this adds value to your life. Thank you. Take care, everybody.
This audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some OPTAVIA coaches or clients of OPTAVIA. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the OPTAVIA team.